The invitation to my father's 60th birthday celebration sat unopened on my desk for 3 weeks. Bold embossed lettering, heavy cream paper, everything about it screamed expensive and exclusive, just like my family pretended to be. I knew what would happen if I went. The same thing that happened at every family gathering for the past 15 years. "Emma's here," my sister Olivia would announce, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. Still wearing those discount store clothes. I ran my fingers over the envelope, remembering last year's Christmas dinner. They'd seated me at the far end of the table, away from the successful family members. My crime? Building my own investment firm instead of joining the family business. "Ms. Harrison." My assistant's voice crackled through the intercom. "The paperwork from Sterling Investments just arrived. Would you like to review it now?" I smiled, pushing the invitation aside. "Bring it in, Marie." Sterling Investments, my family's pride and joy. The company that managed not only our family's considerable wealth, but also the retirement funds of half the city's elite. My father had built it from nothing, turning it into a financial powerhouse through sheer determination and ruthless business tactics. The same tactics he used on his own daughter. "You'll never make it in finance," he'd said when I announced my plans to start my own firm. "This isn't a game for little girls playing with daddy's money." That was 15 years ago. Now, Harrison Capital managed over $10 billion in assets, all acquired quietly through subsidiary companies and holding corporations. My family had no idea I owned it. They thought I ran a small investment advisory service, barely scraping by. Marie placed the thick folder on my desk. "The due diligence is complete. Sterling's financials are exactly as our sources indicated." I opened the folder, scanning the numbers I already knew by heart. My father's company was in trouble. Years of risky investments and poor management had left them vulnerable. Their clients didn't know it yet, but Sterling Investments was hanging by a thread. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. "Don't forget your father's party tonight. Try to dress appropriately for once." I looked down at my simple black pantsuit. No designer labels, no flashy jewelry. Nothing like Olivia's closet full of luxury brands and five-figure handbags. But underneath my modest appearance lay something they couldn't imagine. Power. The party was being held at the Crystal Room, the most exclusive venue in the city. As I handed my keys to the valet, I could see my mother standing at the entrance, greeting guests in her Chanel suit and diamond necklace. Her smile froze when she saw me. "Emma," she said, her voice tight. "I thought we discussed dress code." I glanced at my watch. A simple timepiece that cost more than her entire outfit. Not that she knew that. "Hello, Mother. Couldn't you have made an effort, just once?" She sighed dramatically. "Your sister's wearing Valentino." "I'm sure she is," I murmured, stepping past her into the glittering ballroom. The room was packed with the city's elite. Bankers, executives, old money families who trusted Sterling Investments with their fortunes. My father stood in the center, holding court like a king, while Olivia hovered nearby in her designer dress. "Look who finally showed up," Olivia's voice carried across the room. "The family charity case." I watched several guests hide smirks behind their champagne glasses. They all knew the story, or thought they did. The rebellious daughter who refused to join the family business, choosing instead to struggle on her own. If only they knew what was about to happen. "Emma," my father's voice boomed as I approached. "Surprised you could afford the valet parking." More snickers from the crowd. I forced a smile. "Happy birthday, Dad." He barely glanced at my gift. A simple card containing a single business card. "Mine." He tossed it aside without opening it. "Your sister just made junior partner at Sterling," he announced proudly, following in my footsteps, unlike some people. Olivia preened under the attention. "Daddy's taking me to Paris next week to meet with our European investors. We're expanding the pension fund division." I bit back a laugh. There wouldn't be any expansion. Not after tonight. "Ms. Harrison." A soft voice in my ear, one of my employees, playing the role of a waiter. "It's done." I checked my phone, reading the message that would change everything. "Purchase of Sterling Investments complete. All paperwork filed, awaiting your instructions." "Emma," my mother's sharp voice cut through my thoughts. "This is a private party. The help uses the service entrance." I looked up, meeting her cold gaze. "The help?" "Well, look at you." She gestured dismissively at my clothes. "You clearly don't belong here. Why don't you leave before you embarrass us further?" I felt the weight of every judgmental stare, every whispered comment. 15 years of dismissal and mockery crystallized in this moment. "You're right, Mother," I said quietly. "I don't belong here. Not anymore." My father snorted. "Finally figured that out, did you? Go on then. Some of us have real business to discuss." I took one last look around the room, at my family, at their wealthy friends, at all the people who trusted their futures to Sterling Investments without knowing it was built on sand. "You know, Dad," I said, pulling out my phone, "you should really check your messages more often." His brow furrowed. "What are you talking about?" I pressed send on a pre-written email, then waited. 3 seconds later, every phone in the room started buzzing. The crystal room erupted in chaos as everyone read the message simultaneously. "Sterling Investments acquired by Harrison Capital." My father's face drained of color as he fumbled with his phone, hands shaking as he read the announcement. "This is impossible," he whispered, looking up at me with dawning horror. "Harrison Capital. That's my company," I finished for him. "The one you said would never succeed. The little investment firm you mocked for 15 years. Olivia pushed through the crowd, her designer dress rustling. "What's going on? Daddy, what does this mean?" I smiled, pulling a business card from my pocket, identical to the one in the birthday card he tossed aside. "It means, dear sister, that your trip to Paris is canceled, along with your promotion to junior partner." "You can't do this," my mother hissed, grabbing my arm. "This is our company. Your father built it from nothing." "And I built Harrison Capital from nothing," I countered, gently removing her hand. "The difference is, I did it without riding on anyone's reputation or connections." The party guests were now openly staring, phones recording every moment of the unfolding drama. My father, the great Charles Sterling, was visibly trembling. "How?" he demanded. "Where did you get that kind of money?" "Would you like to see my portfolio?" I asked, opening my tablet. 10 billion in assets under management, companies in 30 countries, a client list that reads like the Fortune 500. All built while you were telling everyone I was a failure. Olivia's perfectly made-up face contorted with rage. "You're lying. There's no way you could have built an empire." I interrupted, "Because I'm just the family disappointment? The one who wears discount store clothes and can barely afford valet parking?" I turned to the gathered crowd, many of whom were Sterling Investments clients. "Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for disrupting the party. I want to assure you that your investments are safe. Harrison Capital has a stellar track record of maintaining and growing our clients' wealth. You'll all be receiving detailed information packets tomorrow morning." "Stop this immediately," my father roared, his face purple with rage. "I'll fight this takeover." You'll what?" I cut in softly. "Challenge it in court." "With what evidence?" "Your board of directors approved the sale unanimously this afternoon. They've seen the books, Dad. They know what you've been hiding." He staggered back as if I'd struck him. "What are you talking about?" "The pension fund irregularities, the mismanaged accounts, the creative accounting that's been covering up Sterling's losses for the past 3 years." I kept my voice low, but in the stunned silence, every word carried. "Did you really think no one would notice?" My mother's face had gone ashen. "Charles, what is she saying?" "Nothing," he snapped. "She's lying. Trying to destroy what I built because she's jealous of our success." I pulled up another document on my tablet. "This is a forensic audit of Sterling's books for the past 5 years. Would you like me to share it with the room? Or should we discuss this privately?" The fight seemed to drain out of him all at once. He sank into a nearby chair, suddenly looking every one of his 60 years. "How long have you known?" he whispered. "Long enough," I replied. "Long enough to watch you promote Olivia over more qualified candidates. Long enough to see you risk people's retirements on increasingly desperate gambles. Long enough to put together a rescue plan that would save the clients while teaching you a lesson about judging people by their appearance." Olivia was frantically texting, probably trying to contact her lawyer friends. "This isn't over," she snarled. "We'll fight this." "With what money?" I asked mildly. "Your trust fund is managed by Sterling Investments, which is now Harrison Capital. Your salary comes from Sterling, which is now mine. Even that Valentino dress you're wearing? Charged to a company account that's now frozen." The room had grown deathly quiet. Everyone was watching the mighty Sterling family crumble in real time. Ms. Harrison. Marie appeared at my elbow, tablet in hand. The transition team is ready to begin first thing tomorrow morning. Thank you, Marie. I turned back to my family. Don't worry. Unlike you, I don't believe in public humiliation. We'll handle this professionally. My mother finally found her voice. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Destroying your father's legacy? His legacy? I laughed softly. His legacy was teaching me that nothing matters except the bottom line. That family loyalty means nothing compared to financial success. I learned those lessons well, don't you think? I moved toward the exit, then paused. Oh, and Mom, this discount store suit, it's bespoke from Milan. I just don't feel the need to broadcast my wealth to feel successful. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Sterling Investments was integrated into Harrison Capital, with most employees keeping their jobs, except for the senior management that had enabled my father's risky schemes. Olivia tried to sue, claiming family rights to the company. Her case was dismissed when our lawyers produced evidence of her own financial misconduct, padding expense accounts, creating fake client meetings for luxury trips. My father retreated to their vacation home, refusing to speak to anyone. My mother alternated between tearful pleas and angry accusations, unable to accept that her unsuccessful daughter now controlled the family fortune. 1 month after the birthday party revelation, I sat in my office reviewing the transition reports when Marie announced an unexpected visitor. Send them in, I said, not looking up from my work. The door opened and expensive perfume filled the air. My mother stood there, looking smaller and older than I remembered. Your secretary didn't recognize me, she said quietly. Security protocol, I replied, finally meeting her eyes. We've had some interesting visitors lately. She sat down uninvited, her designer bag, last season's model, clutched in her hands. Your father, he's not well. The doctors say it's stress. I'm sorry to hear that, I said, and meant it. The company's medical insurance will cover any treatment he needs. That's not why I'm here. She took a deep breath. I want to understand. All these years, watching you struggle, or thinking we were watching you struggle. You saw what you expected to see, I said simply. A daughter who didn't fit your image of success. Someone who didn't care about designer labels or social status. We were wrong, she whispered, tears forming in her perfectly made-up eyes. So terribly wrong. I leaned back in my chair, studying her. Did you come here to apologize, Mother, or because your credit cards were declined at the country club? She flinched. We deserve that. We deserve all of it. But Emma, you're still our daughter. Surely that means something. It meant nothing when I needed your support, I said calmly. Why should it mean something now that I don't? A tear slipped down her cheek. Because we've learned. Because seeing everything you've built, everything you've become, we're proud of you, Emma, even if we don't deserve to be. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the city where my company had become a major force. Pride is easy when success is visible, Mother. The question is, would you have been proud of me during the struggle? When I was working 18-hour days, reinvesting every penny into building something real. No, she admitted softly. We wouldn't have been. And that's our shame to carry. I turned back to face her. Olivia called yesterday. She wants a job at Harrison. And I told her what Dad told me 15 years ago. Get some real experience first. Stop relying on family connections. She nodded slowly. She's living in our guest room now. Her credit cards, her accounts, have been frozen pending investigation. I finished. Actions have consequences, Mother. Even for the golden child. I pressed a button on my phone. Marie, please bring in the package for Mrs. Sterling. My assistant appeared moments later with a thick envelope. I handed it to my mother. What's this? She asked, opening it carefully. A second chance, I said. Information about the retirement planning services Harrison Capital offers. Investment options that don't depend on risky schemes. Everything you need to secure your future, legally and ethically this time. She stared at the papers, then at me. You'd help us. After everything. I'm not helping, I corrected her. I'm offering an opportunity. What you do with it is up to you. But understand this, there will be no special treatment, no manipulated accounts, no family favors. If you want to rebuild, you'll do it the right way. My mother stood, clutching the envelope like a lifeline. Thank you, Emma, for the opportunity and for the lesson. One more thing, I said as she reached the door. Next time you judge someone by their clothes or their car or their job title, remember this moment. Remember how expensive those assumptions can be. After she left, I returned to my work. Harrison Capital had grown beyond my wildest dreams, but success wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about proving myself right. The company continues to thrive, now one of the most respected firms in the financial sector. My father eventually returned to work as a regular investment advisor, learning humility and proper risk management. Olivia found a job at a small financial planning office, finally understanding the value of hard work. And me? I still keep my first business plan framed in my office, written on cheap paper with a drugstore pen. It reminds me that true worth isn't measured in designer labels or social status, but in what you build and how you build it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying someone's world, it's showing them that their world was built on illusions all along.